So I'll just do the Zoom link and then just share my screen and
Correct.
if you give me.
You got power.
And then you'll just put your volume all the way down and mute. I believe this will catch it all. You're set up. Awesome, thank you. On social media, I know. While you're beautiful.
It's true, I haven't seen you in a while, but social media.
I know, we have been all over the place. Just got back from my brother's wedding. Oh, fun. It's crazy. If you guys wanna start signing in, you can pass that around. We'll need your license number for your free CE credit. Love that you guys are here, but in the past, I have never seen you bringing agents who want this and. I know they all said they want stuff to show up.
Oh, they're not coming.
Well, I'm just saying like probably 10 to 12. I'm like, do I think that's fine? I do them all the time and I have no idea if I'm doing them right. I've never done one. I'm putting the right information in and then I'm like, gosh, am I gonna fix them and be like. You got a 50-50 chance of this is what you're gonna. And I've literally said that, I'm like, this is literally. The largest percentage of estimate it could ever be.
It is an estimate. Right?
Yes. Well, yeah, Kim, yeah, that's, you know, what people are, especially old people, because that's what I work with, they're like, oh, that's what I'm getting to know. I never said that. I would just keep that number in the back of your head. Maybe you'll get more. A crazy amount of things that I still don't know. Why can I not sign?
Hey, Ron. How are you? Yeah. Good. Good.
You ever get these stupid things, like here's a text I get in front of me. Is it a broker? I'm looking to buy a property. What a broker, me?
Oh. We did this over.
No, it's
Forgetting.
not a broker.
I decided to go down the rabbit hole of one of those that
Did you?
say lists. Ping back on WhatsApp,
Yeah,
it's all a cryptocurrency scam.
yeah, I get them all the time and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, first of all, this is horrible English. Horrible question, is it a broker? I don't know what it is. That's what I wanna write back, what it is.
Spam calls and stuff, it's crazy.
No, really. And then I get 20 probably health insurance things. I'm
I
the
don't-
owner, I'm here to provide you with your life insurance, okay, well, I
Well-
get another one the next day, same number.
No, That's awful.
It's like NAR is like, obviously make a ton of money off the sun stuff.
Are they selling it too?
I would imagine, I mean, how is,
Well, they go online and capture it pretty easily.
yeah, I guess so.
How are you, Andy?
We got burritos.
Oh, good.
We have sellers in your area, like. Oh, you gotta come sit next.
It's out there.
No, take couple stuff, we did 200% already.
You know me, I'll just sit back.
No, not today. Right in cheese. If you can help me once we get started, maybe whoever pops online, just write your name down and then they can follow up and get their license number. It's not.
Yeah, let me. I'm trying to-
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't have it memorized.
Okay.
I do have it.
Feel free to hear you guys, so help yourself, and then feel free to go say hi to Lauren and grab a soda or a LaCroix or coffee or water before we start. It's too early for one. Oh, wow, there's. Are there different times? I don't remember. They're all a little darker, but and I don't know what meat they are. You know how like Santiago does like their day of the,
Yes.
every day is a different meat. I forgot. I probably saw it. The mystery meat, whoever can get.
I think it's chorizo.
It's chorizo on Wednesday, okay.
Wait, I'm pretty sure I say. Yeah, I love.
No worries. I know, I do too. Is there not like an easier way to find all of the classes that we've taken? Like, there's not one spot where it will show. No, well, I'm just shooting in the dark. I have no idea. Yeah, you're supposed to save your CE certs, like in the file, like in your Google Drive, because people are getting audited and they get audited often, and so you gotta produce all your CE certs, so. Yes, so if you took a class, say from Attorney John Goodman, then he issued a CE cert, even though we helped with the class coming from the instructor. So for us, you could say like, hey, I took a seller just submitted an NetSheet class in September, I can't find my CE cert, and we can resend it to you. But we can't go back and forth in her class, I know. Believe me, people have come to me in a panic, like, I can. And I'm like, well, just because this is what I'm teaching, I'm the instructor, you'll get the CE cert from me, but others, we just promote and sponsor. And you get the CE cert from like Educated Minds with John Goodman and. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to call them and say, like, I have no idea, we're all.
You know, Damien actually has a system where you can actually submit your other classes.
I use Damien's,
I
download them all there.
Yeah, and that's pretty, but don't mind if I say.
And they show you exactly what you're, especially when you get your, do the required, your ethics and your. Yeah, see now, it comes right up that you're. Yeah, and it's your green mark. Right. Those are important, so you like to have them every 2 years, and you need your mandatory update once a year. And I'll be doing the mandatory update, if you haven't done the 23 mandatory update, a lot of people don't do it till the end of the year, which is kind of funny, because it's the update for 23. But you're, I think I've worked with.
Probably good, because all the changes that happened in August with the.
Yeah, but that's fine too, I'll still do. But you know, out of the contract, I didn't use the slot that you would do contract.
Indians.
Cox,
Cox Education.
How did you not use the
Yeah.
contract? Oh, I just.
They should try.
It needs to go back to see or whatever, so the docs, docs, something. How much?
Yeah.
They use for the reader, they're like, oh, I had no idea.
A lot of you.
2 years is what it's 24.
So you got
It's on grab a beverage and recliners.
But if you were, like, you got your license with the end of 2020.
Good, great.
It's Oxted education.com.
Okay, it looks like nobody's online. Okay, well, that's okay. We have plenty in person, that's great. Yeah. Take a break, go have a drink, and go grab a drink from Lance Title. Lauren would love to see you if you need someone to look for a coffee. Okay.
So maybe,
Okay, so, and you know what? That's gonna be gross, I did my job. I'm not.
Yeah.
Hollywood. Oh, you can pass this back and straight, Jeff, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, the little flyers from Johnny. Oh, yeah, up front, yeah. Right up. The worst.
Sorry.
Yes.
You just.
Oh. Hey, Steve, would you like one of these? Yeah. No, I've seen so many. There's no way that I'm under.
I'm going with file, it says.
It's 10:01, so I'm Andrea with Land Title, and you are in how to prepare a seller's net sheet, and it's an estimated net sheet we were making note of in our conversation a little bit ago. And so if you're online, you probably can't see these, but I'm passing around some brochures that say about Land Title. It's myself and Robin here. I'll move the camera. There she is. So Robin's our fabulous closer here at Land Title. A lot of you know her. If you don't, this is Robin Overholtz. She's the brain behind all things title, and I'm the talker. So this put your trust in the best or about Land Title brochure. Let's see online if I can just you. We can get you a bunch of these for free. So when you're talking to your sellers about a title company, and I know there's a lot in the news about seller fraud or wire fraud. These brochures are nice to kind of make you look very professional when you're hopefully telling them I use Land Title. You can share this little brochure about who we are. So we are Land Title. We've been in business since 1967. We have over 50 locations. And although we are large in Colorado, we're about 54% of the market. So we close 1 out of every 3 transactions. We are only in Colorado, though. We're a local title company. So our ownership is here. I can give you the cell phone number to the owner of Land Title if you have an issue or need anything. We have our own legal department. We have our own marketing department. We have our own HOA department. We have our own 1031 exchange department. So we have everything in-house here in Colorado. Our employees are all Colorado based. So we support the Colorado real estate community. Our 600 employees buy homes, hopefully for you guys. And we know Colorado dirt through and through. So please choose us when you have an opportunity. And then one of our greatest resources we're going to talk about today, and that is the seller's estimated net sheet. It really is a calculator. It's a big blown up real estate calculator. So when you go to real estate school, you may be wondering, oh my gosh, I have to calculate all these numbers by hand. And how am I going to figure this out? Well, you don't have to, because Land Title, when you go to our website, you're going to find out that we do it for you. All you have to do is like a plug and play, plug in the numbers and we'll spit out the net sheet for you. So the first thing you'll do is you'll go to our website. Our website's ltgc.com. That stands for Land Title Guarantee Company. When you get a chance, out in the upper right-hand corner, you can create an account if you haven't already. This is smart to do. I have a funny story. So when you create an estimated net sheet, you can send it to your clients. You can email it to Mrs. Seller. So I had a client who created a net sheet, and in your net sheet is your commissions, right? So she emailed the net sheet to her client, but she couldn't remember what % commission she offered. I don't know if she's offering a discount or whatever. Well, if you're not logged in, it won't save your work. And so she called me in a panic, like I didn't print that sheet behind my login. And can you retrieve the net sheet? And this was years ago when IT was like, you know how to do that. Maybe they do now. I'm not sure. So she had to go to her seller and say, I'm sorry, but what commission did I send you or offer you on your net sheet? So
Moral of the story is log in, so it saves your work and you can go back and edit the net sheet. You can see what you're offering if you do that, something to that sort. Another benefit of having an account on our website, because everything you can access on our website without logging in most of the time. But if you want to order an O&E, and I have a whole nother class on an O&E and what that is, but it's a $5 product. Just a quick glance at a property of any judgments or liens that are recorded against the property. And that's good to take and bring with you at time of listing or listing appointment or talking to a potential seller. And that's $5. And when you log in, we'll save your credit card information the first time you order an O&E, and you can just order them over and over and over. Or you can call Robin or myself and we'll order those O&Es for you as well. But another good reason to create an account. Okay, so a net sheet, it's just a tool that allows, I always tell you guys usually when we're meeting one-on-one, like when you're meeting with a seller, all your seller wants to know is, Casey, if I sell my home and you sell my home, how much money am I gonna make, right? All people wanna know is that bottom line. God bless you. Thank you. All people wanna know is how much money am I walking away with so I could go buy my new house or go retire and live on a yacht or do whatever they wanna do with their future plans. They wanna know that. Now you have to tell them, this is an estimate, because all of the figures will be solidified the day before closing, hopefully when you get your final seller's estimate or final seller's net sheet that will come from your closer, Miss Robin. But right now, you're just helping them get a rough idea of their bottom line. So this is gonna show you proceeds after all the costs have been considered. It also makes you, when you show up to their kitchen table or wherever you're gonna meet them for your listing appointment, more professional, right? You've done some research, you know their property, and maybe you have to talk to them prior to get some of this information. So we'll walk through this so you know what questions to ask. But it's a nice professional tool that you can present to them as well. And then also, like we say, the bottom point there during contract negotiations, it's good to have this ready so you can have those bottom line comparisons. Okay, so information you should collect from your seller so that you can show up to that appointment like the professional with that seller's estimated net sheet in hand. Now, that's one approach. Another approach is to sit down if you're real comfortable with them. Pull out your laptop or even your phone. Our net sheet tool is mobile friendly. It's not an app, but when you pull it up on your phone, it fits your screen, so it's like an app. Very easy to do. You can also do this with them, but if you want to prepare beforehand, here's some information you're going to need. So a copy of the seller's last mortgage statement. Now, do you really need a copy? Maybe not. Maybe they could just tell you, again, tell them it's an estimate to give you a roundabout your balance on the loan. And then is there one mortgage? Do they have a home equity line of credit? Some people have second mortgages. I know that seems like a thing of the past. And then you might want to ask them if they know if they have a prepayment penalty, a negative AM, or adjustable rate. Again, those are all products that were, if Mitch was in here, that was way before COVID when they had those products. But most importantly, I would say just get a rough idea of what they owe on their home. What's the balance on their home loan? And then there's one caveat, which, Robin would jump in and help you figure this out. But if you have an FHA loan, if it was originated prior to 2015, then they're going to require a full month of interest collected with the payoff amount. But please don't worry about that. We'll jump in, and that's why this is an estimate. She'll say, okay, plus we're going to add in a full month of interest, and we'll figure that out later on in the transaction. But if you're that savvy and want to talk to them about an FHA loan originated before 2015, we're going to have to collect another month of interest. This is all going to make a lot more sense, you guys, when we get into the net sheet tool. So we're just going to kind of talk about the information you need right now. Also, you could ask them, do you have any potential liens or claims on the property? And this is where it's good for you to pull an O&E to give you maybe a few indicators if there are. But usually, hopefully the homeowner knows if they have a judgment, a mechanic lien, if they haven't been paying their HOA dues and they have an HOA lien, if they've been through a bankruptcy or they know they're headed into foreclosure. And then if they have any tax liens. So is there anything they're aware of? You want to just ask them to put it out there. And then of course you can do research by ordering that O&E. And when you go under contract and we do a full blown title search, we will uncover all of this as well. But good to know up front, because right, it can kind of halt you from listing that property until those liens get taken care of in some instances. Most other instances, these liens can be paid at time of closing, right, Robin? So you know, have no fear, if you're like, yes, I do have an HOA lien and we've really been struggling this, that, will have no fear, we just need to account for that and it'll be paid for by proceeds at time of closing, right? Did I say that right? Okay. So HOA, is there an HOA on the property? Very important, because that's a good chunk of change. Is there more than one HOA? So there could be a master and a sub, and as we know, HOAs charge some pretty hefty fees. And are you current with your payments? And if they know if there's a special assessment due. FERPTA, and we're gonna go through this again when we're looking in the calculator, but FERPTA is the foreign investor. If you're working with a foreign investor, of course, who lives out of the country, then we need to know that because we are going to have to withhold up to 15% of the sale price. That's a lot of money and we don't want to throw that at them at the last minute, but so just trigger that in your mind. Oh my gosh, this is a foreign investor. You're gonna ask them, do you have a taxpayer ID issued by the United States or a social security number? And if they do, you're probably fine. But if not, then we're gonna have to disclose this, and this is where you have to disclose it to the buyer. And then is the seller moving out of Colorado? So if so, they will be able to sign one of the state's affirmations. It's our 1083 document at closing. Or if they can't attest to one of those affirmations, we have to hold 2% of the sales price for tax purposes as well. So I always think about that one, where did they pay taxes? Did they pay taxes here in Colorado in the prior year? Then you're fine. If they were living in Arizona and they're selling a property here, then Colorado's gonna get their share of taxes. So we're gonna withhold, and then you can talk to a tax accountant, but then they'll take the taxes that they need out of that 2% and then reimburse back, is my understanding.
That's correct.
Okay. Seems like a lot, it'll become simpler. Enhancing the net sheet, so a few other questions. So at the very bottom of the net sheet, we'll take a look at, are there concessions? Their concessions are back, right? They weren't during COVID, but now they are there, and there's a space where you could add those in, we'll show you. Are there any repairs that may be found in the home inspection, roof or furnace? Is there any money that we can put into those? We have a debit and credit section at the bottom of the net sheet. And then some agents, it is their practice that they offer to pay for a home warranty for the buyer. So there's a section in there for the home warranty, we'll see as well. Okay, so I am now going to navigate to our website to show you exactly what this looks like. So we're going to go to ltgc.com. And here's our website. So up top is where you can log in once you create an account. And like I said, you don't have to create an account to do a seller's estimated net sheet, but it's wise. So it saves all your work and history, and then you can just pop back in there and edit it when you're ready. So to access the net sheet, you come to rate quotes. And the reason why you're in rates is because our title insurance rates are included in there. And you'll go to seller's estimated net sheet. And now, just like any tool online that's going to calculate something for you, you just start plugging in the information you know. So we'll do the property address. We'll do a real property address here. And you don't have to put in the full property address. You could put in just the street address and hit enter, and then wait a minute and it'll populate the county for you. So there's Denver County. This is just asking, is this a purchase or a refinance? This is a purchase. You're not a lender doing a refinance, so this is going to be a purchase. It'll default the closing office to where the property is located, but please don't worry. You'll tell us, you'll tell Robin, we need to close in Arvada or Lakewood or Denver, and we'll accommodate for that. So please don't worry what this drop down says, but you could, if you want, you're going to be closing in Arvada, Old Town. You can pop that in there. This area here is for your internal referencing number. So if you just want to put, the Smiths or, Andrea Kwame, that's for your own internal referencing. So you can pull up that net sheet quickly. You'll agree to the terms and conditions down here. Again, what we're saying is this is an estimate. This is not the final settlement statement. So they cannot hold you to this, and you want to make sure to let them know, hey, we don't know all the final figures for water payoff or HOA fees or tax payments until the final settlement statement is delivered to you like 1 day prior to closing. This is just our estimate. So we'll click continue. It'll pop to the top. Now, everything in real estate, it's kind of interesting, is traditional. So as you know, your contract is negotiable, but traditionally, we're gonna auto-populate who pays for the owner's title policy. Traditionally, the seller pays for the title insurance policy for the buyer. If you are negotiating that differently and you wrote the contract differently, you just click on the drop down and you could click, okay, we decided in the contract, we're gonna split it 50-50, or the buyer's gonna pay it, or the seller's gonna pay it. So we'll, like I said, we'll navigate to traditionally. Traditionally, the closing fee, there's a closing fee that land title charges of $380. Traditionally, the title closing fee is split 50-50 between the buyer and the seller. It's not a for sale by owner because they're smart and hired you to represent them, so you don't need to check that box. And just so you know, if it helps you when you're talking to people, we charge more for sale by owners. Our closing fee is $600. So you let your clients know. Also by choosing me, you're saving money. So it's just a good little selling point if you need it. Because for sale by owners make our lives a lot more difficult when you guys aren't involved. So our closing fee is higher. The owner's title policy. So the owner's title policy is going to offer extended coverage. You might remember this from real estate school if you haven't, if you're newer, but owner's extended coverage is $95. It's not much more. And we can go into it further in a title class, but it deletes standard exceptions, the exceptions page of the title commitment 1 through 4, and gives additional protection. So absolutely 99% of the time, people opt for owner's extended coverage. So you would click, you would leave it defaulted to delete standard exceptions. It sounds funny because you're deleting something, but by deleting those exceptions, you're getting additional coverage, the owner's extended coverage. So call me if you forget this area or want to learn more about it and we can talk about it, but opt for owner's extended coverage. The next section, this property has been purchased or refinanced within the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So we're not allowed to say discount because of insurance regulations, but really is a discount. So if your property has been searched in the last year, we're going to give you 50% off our title insurance rate. And that's a big savings because it's anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,500. And you get 50% off because if it was searched with any title company, we know everybody refinanced in the last at least 3 years. So you would select this box, and if you don't know, I'll show you where we will tell you when they last purchased or refinanced. So that's a huge savings for your clients as well. Now, here's the cool part. We're gonna base this on a purchase price. So if we're hoping to sell this property for $600,000, and we're gonna be able to compare 3 sales prices against one another. So the first one we're gonna put in, did I forget a 0? Yes. $600,000 we're hoping to sell this property for. And then this is asking who pays for the owner's extended coverage. I wish they would move this box right underneath here. That would make sense. But traditionally the seller pays for the owner's extended coverage as well. Traditionally the seller pays for all the title costs until the loan policy. So the loan policy, you're gonna leave blank if you're going to a listing appointment or just trying to do that bottom line for your seller before you're under contract. We don't have a new loan policy because we don't have a buyer with a new loan policy just yet.
Andrew, is the price what they bought it for in the last 5 years, or is that the price we're listing it for?
This is the price you're listing it for and hoping to sell it for. Yes. So what will the buyer be purchasing this for? That's how we calculate rates. So that's how we'll calculate title insurance on if you go under contract for $600,000, they have to pay title insurance for $600,000. So yes, $600,000 is what you have it listed for and on the market. Okay, so now we're down to this part where we're gonna add the net sheet. We're already in it, but now that's mostly rates. And now we're gonna go into all the information you need to collect from your clients about the property. So to auto-populate the property address from county records here, there's our 2670 Eudora located in Denver. The closing date is important because this is how we are gonna calculate taxes, HOA, all of those figures. So we usually suggest, Robin, do you say like a month out for closing? What are you guys seeing? Does it take about a month to get to the closing table?
I say a month with a lender. If it's cash, I say 2 weeks at the minimum. HOAs can make our deadlines a little bit rougher if there's an HOA on a cash deal, but a month is average.
Okay, so if there's a lender involved, we're probably not gonna close much sooner than a month. If it's cash and there's no lender, we usually have quicker closes and you could set it. But let's just go rule of thumb, always a month out. Home warranty, this is if you're gonna be purchasing a home warranty for the buyer. Some agents buy it for the buyers, some sellers pay for it for the buyers, that's up to you. I'll leave that blank. Now here's the cool part. So we said, okay, what if we sell the property for 600,000? But we know in this market, we're hearing of price reductions. What if we sell it for 585? And then what if we sell it for, what if we get multiple offers and we sell it for 610? Okay, we'll be optimistic. So there, it's gonna show 3 different net sheets comparing the different sales prices. And then here's your commission. So you just put in the % commission for the buyer's agent, seller's agent. Hopefully you get to check this box and we'll combine those commissions into one line item if you're double ending the deal, they call it, right? So if you're representing the seller and the buyer, then if you check this box, they'll put all the commission on one line. And then if you have an admin fee, that's up to you within your business. If you charge a realtor admin fee, put that figure in there. Water and sewer escrow. I'm gonna default to Robin on this to talk about what we collect for water and sewer and why.
Okay, so water escrow, we collect anywhere from 450 to about 500 as a standard. We do a status 2 weeks prior to closing. So of course, if their highest bill is higher than what we're holding, we'll amp that up a little bit. For sewer escrow, honestly, most sewer is paid, you know, per month or with the water or taxes. So I don't ever put in an additional sewer escrow. I think that the 450 or 500 and the net sheet covers basic.
Perfect. Yeah, so pop in $500 to water and your clients will probably say, oh my gosh, my water bill's never been $500 before. Well, when you're going to sell a property, you may be advising them to water their lawn more, or maybe they have a hot tub they filled up a few times, or they have a pool, or they have a leak in their sprinkling system. So we always over collect, and then after closing, they'll get a fun check back in the mail of $150 or whatever we don't use. So this is a utility, we call it, right? And why do we collect and pay for water and sewer, but we don't collect and pay for electricity or cable? The reason being is that water and sewer are the only utility that can create a lien against a property. And our job as a title company is to make sure we're conveying clean, clear title with no liens, and water can lien the property. So that's why we take responsibility of collecting and paying off the final water bill.
Well, question, what if you're in the HOA and they pay water and sewer? You still put that amount in there?
No, we will hold an escrow if we can confirm that the
So-
HOA pays it.
Okay, so I can leave that blank.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, if you know that for sure, you can leave it blank. Another rule of thumb, when you're creating a net sheet, always shoot high. Cause then you get to come back as the hero later and it's a smaller figure, right? So I'm not saying pad everything, but always, you know, add the fees in there and then you get to look like the hero later when it comes down back as less, right? But yeah, you know that for sure, absolutely. So then to Casey's point, HOA, here's our HOA. So if there's no HOA, don't click the blue bar. If there is an HOA and there's a sub and a master, you can add another line in there. We're just gonna pretend like there is one, we'll say Trail Village Management Company, whatever name it is. And we pay our HOA monthly and it's $75. I wouldn't worry too much. Your clients probably are not gonna know their transfer statement amount or their working capital. We will figure that out prior to closing for you, but just to have an idea for us to prorate the HOA dues, go ahead and put this in, how much they're paying monthly or yearly, however that works. And then this is what people love about our tool. We pull in the county tax figure. Oh, sorry, let me back up. This little box here, should land title order HOA documents. So as you know, there are about 30 HOA documents the seller is required to deliver to the buyer by the HOA deadline. So if your seller wants to do that, they can knock themselves out, but it's a big feat. So if we can do it for you, we're happy to do so. Is it $75? $70 for us to order the HOA docs, and then if there's a second, it's 70 per HOA. Hopefully, normally we'll have one, maybe two. Check that box and we'll add a $70 fee onto the settlement statement so that you know that we're gonna do that job for you, and that will be another debit for the seller. Okay, taxes. I'm gonna let Robin talk about taxes. That's okay. So this comes, we pull these from county records. And the only thing I'm gonna say is remember the big hubbub that taxes went up on average. What would you say, you guys, like by 20% everywhere? I mean, it's circumstantial, I guess, in different areas, but these are taxes from the prior year.
So for taxes, if I do your net fee, I will always look at property in the treasurer's website to verify, in fact, they are paid in full. It usually defaults to paid in full on our debt sheet, so I'll always verify if they've been paid. If they haven't been and it's past the due date, I can help calculate the fee. But if you guys are doing it, I would just ask them if they paid it, they have a mortgage, most likely they're paid already. But they are due in full by April 30th. Or in 2 installments, so February 28th, the first installment needs to be paid, and by June 15th, the second installment needs to be paid. And you can as well look up on the treasurer's website, the property address to verify if everything was paid or not, so that we can make sure that that reflects correctly on this statement.
But see what Robin just said is she'll do it for you. Did you hear that? So even if you want to do the next sheet yourself, you can pick up the phone and call Robin or shoot her an email and she can kind of confirm the taxes for you, but if they're paid in full or not. So you want to leave that populated as it is. If they have past due taxes, hopefully they told you and you can pop that in there. Transfer tax assessment, if they don't know, that's okay. We'll let you know if they have a transfer tax assessment. Most properties do not, would you say, in the Denver metro area. And then here's the 2 bottom parts we talked about. If they're living out of state, selling a property here in Colorado, or if they're a foreign investor, you check this box. And then this is where we will calculate, let's pretend like they live in Arizona and they're selling a property here, and we'll look at what that looks like on the next sheet. Okay, so then this is a very important piece too. Do they have a payoff? Do they have a loan payoff? So they told you, yep, I owe about $240,000 on my loan. And it's okay to have an estimate. We don't need exact because we're gonna order that. Done on the house that you guys are accounting for and going to collect at closing, or are there seller's concessions? You can add those in there as well. And then your buyer's name, we don't have a buyer yet, we're just taking the listing, and then here's your seller. It'll populate from county records. You click calculate and wait. I have to take my hands off the keyboard because it takes a minute, and then there you go, it pops to the top. Okay, so at the top, I'm gonna bypass this because they're gonna be in the net sheet. These are our title fees and our insurance fees, but they're gonna be down here in the net sheet. So this is what a net sheet looks like at closing, minus the 3 different sales prices. But look at this first column. This is exactly what your net sheet looks like. So let's take a look at it now by entering all that information into the calculator. Here's our property address. We have a seller. If we sell the home for $600,000, we go under contract for $600,000. I'll just kind of walk through this and you'll see 585, 610. There's the 3 sales prices. For $600,000, your title insurance with owner's extended coverage is $1,590. And I'm going to show you where we can check if they qualify for a reissue rate if you don't know on that. Here's half of our closing fee. Our closing fee is $380, and the seller and the buyer split that traditionally 50-50. Here's a release service fee. Land title charges $30 to release and track the payoff for the loan. And that's an important service. If you, I'm just gonna brag on us, but there are other title companies who don't do a good job of tracking and making sure the payoff is actually recorded. And we do a really great job of that. They could cause many issues after the fact. So there's our fee for that. And then here's Colorado withholding. We said that they live in another state and they're selling a property here. So Colorado's gonna get their property taxes. So we're gonna withhold $12,000. That's why I want to show you guys. This is a big chunk of money that you don't wanna throw at them like, oh, I forgot you live in Seattle and you're selling your kid's condo here now. That's a lot of money they withhold. Again, talk to a tax advisor, accountant on how that works, but they will, if they don't use all that money, they will get it reimbursed back. And then here's your HOA fees to Trail Village. we do the calculation here, so Trail Village Management, October 1st to October 27th, because we said we're gonna close on October 27th. We calculate that for the month of October out to $2.41 a day, so they will be debited $62.90 from the seller. Water and sewer, we're gonna collect $500 to pay off the final water bill. We're gonna pay off the loan to US Bank for $240,000. And then we're gonna calculate your taxes from the beginning of 23 to our closing date of October 27th. The seller is going to pay $3,035.95. And then here's our commission to the seller, the selling agent, the commission to the buyer agent. And then here's our $70 fee for us to pull the HOA docs and deliver them to the buyer on behalf of your seller. And we will hit the deadline for you. So all of that debited from your sales price, we went under contract for 600, we're gonna subtract 293,478.85, and your seller's gonna walk away with this bold number. They're gonna walk away with a check for $306,521.15. That's if we sell it for 600,000. What if we go under contract for 585? There's what they'll walk away with, and if we go under contract for 610. So very slick, you can come down here and edit each different sales price if you would like. You can start a whole new quote here, you can order an O&E from here. Now here's where you can email it to your clients. Email it to yourself if you'd like, your clients, whomever you would like. Down here is what I would absolutely do. Type in your email address and our customer response will pull the last recorded deed and say, hey, Ben, that property was refinanced 2 years ago, so they qualify for a 2-year reissue rate. Well, that's where you could go back, you could edit your quote. Oops, there's the edit button. You said, okay, they said a 2-year reissue rate, so you're gonna go back up here and say, okay, they refinanced 2 years ago. And then recalculate it so your title insurance rate is accurate.
How long does that take to get that information back?
Same day, our customer response is pulling the last recorded deed. So yeah, pretty quickly, and you could always call us too, and we could look it up pretty quickly. If you're like going into a meeting in 5 to 10.
Can you repeat what button I have there, so I can't quite see?
Oh, sure, what
For the
button?
reissue to check.
Oh, yeah, so when you come down, we'll go back. I'm gonna come back into edit.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see my,
Sorry, it's taking a second.
so the,
And then when you come up here, you'll see the 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So if the property's been purchased or refinanced, if they say, oh, it's been refinanced 2 years ago, you would check that button.
Gotcha, sorry, I guess I mean, how to check if it has been.
Oh, got it. Okay, so we'll go back to calculate. Yep, it's at the very bottom and it says confirm your rate quote.
Okay.
So when you get to the final page, down at the bottom, you can email your net sheet to yourself and then below it, request quote confirmation. Let us check to see that the best applicable reissue rate is reflected in your quote. Provide your email address below and press request, and then they'll do that for you.
So
Thank you.
how did that, go to the net sheet now to see what that change did?
Yep, so it was what, 1590,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's 1376. All right, so any questions? I know that's a lot of information and it seems like a lot more, you can't break this, so once you get in here and start plugging in the numbers and asking yourself questions, like try one on your own property and see how you feel about it. And I think another benefit of this is that now you know what information you need to collect from your sellers. It helps you kind of have your ducks in a row so that at the last minute, once you go under contract, you're not having them think about everything as well. You can start tweaking in sooner than later.
So on that reissue rate, does it matter if it's a general warranty deed or a special warranty?
No.
deed?
No,
For the taxes, it's pulling last year's taxes, but not the reassessed value.
Yep.
At closing, what are they actually paying?
So the proration will be based off the most recent mill levy and the assessed values that slows.
So they're using the assessed value of this month. And then what if it got changed? So like my property, for instance, in the in Jefferson. It has the notice which value us at 725 or something, but then when you look at this, the. Line, it actually dropped it to 660 something when we appealed, you know what I mean, but then it only, the value, it reflects the 725. So does that make sense? I'm curious how that would work if they repealed it, but then did send out a new notice per se.
Yeah,
And that's on the county record?
You can pull it up if you want as an example.
Oh, no, I mean, that would be a question for the county, I'm not sure what, yes, like, yeah, you. Has anybody had that yet, where they've appealed and it's lower, I mean,
Where the notice says one, but then the county is now reflecting a new one, both from the summer.
so with the net sheet, I don't know 100% where it pulls that, it should be the county, right? So it
Yeah,
should be the
this,
most
this
up
is,
to date.
yeah, well, this will be last year's taxes, it pulls last year, doesn't pull
Yeah.
current, you're the one who pulls current prior to closing, and we go to the county side,
Yeah.
so
So
that's,
that's one
yeah.
thing to tell people on this right now. Cause I think I just did my own property and it shows at 3,900 or something.
Yep, that's-
But it says 48 in the county, but that's using that higher value.
Yep, this is last year's taxes, it's gonna pull, so the taxes are going to be X.
Yeah, we haven't gone
Right.
Right. But they're gonna change before closing to reflect the new summer.
Yeah, we talked about that, we said this is last, and it'll say in here too, you guys, prior year's taxes in the net sheet.
So would you basically,
It's
then,
not-
that's the one that you would make it this number, yeah. It's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Cross it out.
This is an estimated net sheet, yeah, that's right.
Yes, that is the number.
I know it, I was gonna say,
So it should
Really?
be-
If they call you, yeah. So remember, we were just talking to Robin, she offered to pull your taxes for you, remember?
But you can't, you just went to your head, but mine is still wrong, that was weird, like I know my property isn't correct still. Because the value on the notice, doesn't reflect that.
That's gonna be a county question, yeah, we can't.
But would you then call the county as part of that process?
If you guys let us know, I can call the county and verify it, if you don't let me know that it's buried, then I will go based off of what the county website says.
And then if you over collect,
That it's final, it's correct, because we're gonna credit it to the buyer at closing. And then we have on the tax agreement that they sign, it says the final settlement, so nobody can go back and forth after closing date.
so basically they just let you know I'm protecting themselves like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
I know.
it's estimated.
Right, and most people, yeah, most people didn't actually drop and they appeal. But I know specifically in my neighborhood, quite a few did, cause I ran all the. But, yeah, it's just weird because it shows differently, so I was just curious which thing was pulling and how it.
Yeah, so directly from the county.
Yep, that's all we have to pull from is directly from the county, so yeah, and that's a good question, I guess, just to ask them, did you appeal it and was it wrong? Yeah, I think that's kind of your value too as a realtor, right? You could dig in and help them appeal or help them understand if their value did go down and it's not here in the county, yeah, but. No, all we know is, all we can go by is county records.
Right.
And if they did, you can edit the number, so if you
Yep.
have that appeal and it says like $3,000. You can change that number so that the proration is based off of
In
that
here?
in the net sheet.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
I
can
can
change it to reflect what it says.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's where, the drop down, you could change whether it's paid in full or 50-50 if they know. I think the tax area is a good way to call and get to know Robin.
Yep.
Robin. Yeah, everything is edible in here, editable, don't eat it, editable. So there. Okay, Shelby back there, can she see that? So here's where you could just type in whatever you like.
Oh, great.
They can't exceed
You got stressed out about it.
$100. Are there any other questions? Okay, one last thing is we need everybody's name online, so for CE credit. You guys can chime in, I just see an iPhone, so I don't know who that is online.
That's it, for Mary.
Okay,
I don't know. if
We got- okay, Queen Lala. Oh, I don't know. We'll need you to email us if you're online, please email me your license number so you can get CE credit. If I don't receive an email, I'll just understand that you don't need the credit, but if you want to email me your real estate license number, I can get you CE credit for this class, 1 CE credit. So we have Trin, did you rate Trin? I don't know.
And then we have a.
Hey, Andrea,
I did
Yes.
have it in my other book. but
I did have a question on the loan payoffs. I kind of like missed that section where you were talking about the loan payoffs and what information I needed from my client. Just asking like how much they owe on it, right?
Yep, and for an estimated net sheet, you could just ask them what, now, there's gonna be a lot of factors prior to closing when we order the loan payoff. Taxes and interest, right?
Correct.
So
Okay.
this is an estimate that they can give you, just, hey, I owe roughly this. That's about it.
And if I do the
Thank you.
next, and I'm not informed of how much the estimated payoff is, I most likely will reach out and find out what the deed of trust was listed at, so 500,000, and I'll put the full amount on there. So if I don't get an estimated amount for the payoff, I will still put an amount in there, but it'll be for the full amount of the deed of trust. So usually my total would have.
Yeah, which hopefully they make mortgage payment in 9 months, but most people know about-ish what they owe, hopefully on their loan, and if not, they could just, you know, hop online or give a call to their bank and let us know. All right, well, that's it. We'll let you guys out of here. Again, if you're online, email me if you want CE credit. I need your real estate license number. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for the burrito.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had it right in my head, I just.
Yeah, so I think.
It's more to take advantage.
I got it.
Oh, you're, I don't choose yours.
I got it. And.
They needed money.
No,
Yeah, I'm saying it's social.
No, it doesn't. Never mind. So, like a month. Yeah. Right. I'm gonna sit here and but I've been trying to design, I don't break my brain things and I don't know what's. I'm trying to try this one and does that in eight.
Oh.
I don't know, like, but I had to. Writing down what to get in the next month, but I'll be like, if I use my mind, so I don't have any. I would.
I get back the money, pay like.
Now getting to family member you get, but you know, from my mom, I don't. No. One person will put stuff in and the other person will like share.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's like, you know, you don't have to say, my,
Yeah.
I didn't. It's like,
I'm crazy.
Good.